Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Xiaochen. Xiaochen is the president and founder of FinTech4Good. Xiaochen, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to be on the show.
So, before we go through the process, before we discuss what you're doing at FinTech4Good, give us a brief background about yourself, what you've been doing prior to this.
Of course, so before I started FinTech for Good, and I was with the World Bank and mostly working on identifying innovative financial instruments and bring the instruments to the developing country and supporting the low emission development in those countries. And I also was co-founder of WeMerge Capital, and which is a crypto fund that we invest in crypto projects which not only deliver commercial return but also the environmental and social return. And in addition to that, I also used to work for United Nations Secretary General Digital Climate Support Team, and currently I'm still serving on the UN ASCAP ESBN Executive Council, and a lot of conversation with the UN system and trying to define in the next 10 or 20 years and how can we bring the right digital technology to address the biggest problem in the world.
Got it. Interesting. So, and what led you to form FinTech for Good? What was the motivation, the main drive, the push, towards coming up with FinTech for Good?
Yeah, number one is really the market gap, because it's very clear that fintech is playing a very important role in transforming the financial sector, and within the financial sector, one of the key challenge is inclusive finance, where that we still have more than 1 billion people who are unbanked or underbanked. And we still have a lot of inefficiency in the public finance space, and of course that in the investment space, where that a lot of costs go to monitor, evaluation, and verification, which just make the capital cost extremely high, and which again prevent the SMEs and also the marginalized group to receive proper financial service. So when I look at the fintech, I really look at a new technology group which can just help us to provide inclusive finance to all marginalized group and achieve the sustainable development goals defined by UN. And there that's we are looking at different fintech blockchain related innovation, and mostly that we are looking at fintech and blockchain for inclusive finance, energy access, universal access to education, etc. Those kind of innovations.
Got it. So, which brings me to my next question. It can be slightly off topic, but so I was going through your LinkedIn profile before this. So you are a fintech plus a blockchain expert, right?
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what would be the ideal blockchain usage that we would use in the fintech world?
Yeah, and I think number one is still the wallet or digital currency related innovation, because by the end of the day, blockchain come from Bitcoin, and the novelty of Bitcoin was really just to provide this distributed payment infrastructure, where that the trust problem can be addressed in a totally different type of infrastructure. And this can just, again, solve a lot of problem I defined earlier. And now that, the blockchain-based financial service applications, especially in the digital currency space, are being piloted in quite a number of countries. And then digital currency are used to support cross-border trade finance, and also remittance, and also to provide subsidies, provide grant from public finance to the beneficiaries, and which really improve the accountability, reduce the capital cost, etc. So I think again, the number one use case for me is still the digital currency within the blockchain application.
Interesting. So interesting times because of COVID, and the banking sector has been primarily many, or it's an let's reword it better. So banking sector is kind of like not that receptive, or the impression comes not that receptive towards technological change, right? And because of COVID, everyone has been forced to work from home. So it was a pandemic. So now even the banks are rethinking their technology and innovation centers, right? So do you think post-COVID world, their investment and their trend towards the innovations for the use cases will improve, or once the vaccine is out, it's going to go back on the back burner?
I don't think that there's a way to go back because people changed and company changed, product changed, and you cannot just ask people to just go back to the experience before COVID-19, because before COVID-19 it's very clear that digitalization has taken a much longer term to just be adopted by especially those companies and individuals who are more conservative in terms of adopting new technology. But because of COVID-19, that's everyone have to just started to using online meetings, digital payment, digital signature, and all this experience now have been translated into their experience. They will demand, they will expect, after COVID-19 is over, and they still receive the kind of convenience from the solutions which are empowered by the digital technology. So I think that this in the among the investor community, and this is also a consensus, and where that digital economy is there. And before COVID-19, we always say digital economy is emerging, but during COVID-19, digital economy is already there. So after COVID-19 is over, and it will stay.
Interesting. So last question, it's primarily in regards to the remote adoption or the remote engineer adoption by the banking sector. Do you think that receptiveness or that inclination will increase, or their receptibility towards remote work? Because at Gaper, we're very big advocates towards remote work. So that's why we take opinions of different experts, that some agree with us, some don't agree with us. So I just want your opinion on this when it comes down to banking sector and insurance sector primarily. Will they be open to hiring remote engineering teams, offshore, outsource engineering teams, or not?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And, by the end of the day, one thing that's all the, banking sector or financial sector learned during COVID-19 is that remote working is not bad. And, working in the office might not be the, most desirable arrangement, between the company and the employees. So before, COVID-19, and, this was not thoroughly exploited by the companies. But now that's, again, during COVID-19 and even in the banking sector, that's it's very clear that most of the banks and other financial institutions allow their staff to work from home, and they have installed the infrastructure to just support that, and many already just the staff already just relocated to a remote area where then they can have a larger space and enjoy the more convenience. So with that, it's very clear that the organization can continue operate properly, even stronger with digital technology. And to extend that, things, you don't need somebody who will be in the office, and then you can definitely also outsource many of the functions and many of the projects to other countries to extend your team to other regions, not only to address or harvest the time difference benefits, but also to just explore whether you can get better quality engineer with less cost. And I think by the end of the day, all the organizations are driven by three things. One is the revenue, and the other is the cost saving, and the third is client satisfaction. And with all the three things, definitely now with COVID-19, and banks and financial institutions are educated by the COVID-19, that's there are missing opportunity which need to be exploited.
True. Xiaojun, thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself and stay safe.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.